Islam, Morris. I rise and give honor to Allah and to His holy and divine prophets. If you would repeat after me the Moorish American prayer, feet at a 45-degree angle, 5 fingers on the left-hand side, 2 fingers on the right, and facing east, and repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
The Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth.
Truth.
Peace.
Peace.
Freedom. And justice.
And justice.
Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide.
My guide.
And my salvation. By night.
By night.
And by day. Through His holy prophet. Through Ali. Amen. D, Bill Tab L, Sister D.
Islam. Salvation, Allah, unity. Islam. I have feedback. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, Act 1. Can you all hear me? Because I'm not sure.
Yes.
I hear something.
Yes, I hear you. We hear you.
Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make laws and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Empress. I'm gonna mute the whole meeting and then unmute the two of you because there's still some feedback coming there, and I'm not sure where it's coming from. So please hold for just a moment.
Islam. Freedom and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. So that's how Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live your life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws of the Constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and parcel of the said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folk, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of the uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful husbands. You must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Next will be the reading of the divine warning to be proclaimed, to be read.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not Bloom do that. Bloom.
Islam, divine warning by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Prophet warns all Muslims, governors ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet, therefore, is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways, by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
First I rise giving high praise to Allah, giving high honors to his prophet, my prophet Noble Drew Ali. We give high honors also to the forerunner, Marcus Uzziah Garvey. My apologies for my violation of the law.
Islam, Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office, 3603 Indiana Avenue. Noble Drew Ali, founder, Chicago, Illinois, January 18th, 1929. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Dear brother, Islam, I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim it was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials in the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as an American citizen, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they themselves may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that contribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. Your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it bad. Never before have I needed finance as badly as I do at present, that I may shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being the head. It has been proven by my work in which I have performed in the last few months, because I was at the governor's inauguration to represent the Moorish Divine and National Movement, and I will be at the inauguration of President Hoover for the same cause. Noble Drew Ali, Islam.
Islam. Chapter 25, A Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nations. Ye are the children of one father provided for by his care, and the breasts of one mother have given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thine own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. Islam. I sort of titled this today. I titled it the multidimensional alchemical prime elements of the 101 questionairy. Now, when I decided to do the prime numbers to see what matched up with what the prophet had given us, and so I did just prime numbers. Prime numbers are numbers that only one and the number itself can be divided. That's all. There's nothing else. One and the integer itself are the only two that can be divided. What I thought in relation to that is that, Allah and I are one. So I'm facing that challenge, what Allah has given me in terms of the 101 questionnaire. Every one that I looked at demonstrated something that I'm saying, yes, I'm getting the gist of what the prime numbers are. And the prime numbers are 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I looked up the chemical elements that corresponded to these numbers from the 101 questionnaire. So number one is, who made you? Allah. All right, so I looked up number one, the chemical atomic number for number one is hydrogen. And hydrogen is one of the most profuse gases on the land, but yet in terms of its comparativeness to what is going on, it's like 100 million liters of, I think it says earth, comparatively, that only 5 liters of it would be hydrogen. However, if we know that everything is either alkaline or acidic, which means potential hydrogen molecules being attached to something else, which is, I'm saying again, to the mother, the Aleph, the original sacrifice that was made to help sustain the age of man and the growth of man, as well as the nutrition of man, or the age of mind, the growth of mind, and the nutrition of mind. So I'm looking at the correspondence. Who made you? Allah. So Allah is everywhere. So hydrogen is everywhere, but yet nowhere. It is the element that, it helps compose everything else, the origin. And if you look up Hydra means water, and gen is generate, so generating water. And if we go by the Genesis, the book Genesis, there's a lot of water that we're talking about. The separation of the water and the land and the atmosphere and all these things that I'm not able to quote directly, but that's where I'm looking at. All right. So number two is let's see. Number two is who is Allah? And it says Allah is the Father of the universe. And number 2, in terms of the chemistry, in terms of the element, would be helium. And helium is in the first row. The first row is the row column. First column of the noble gases. It's one of the noble gases. And I'm making the comparison between, what the Prophet has given us in terms of these 101 questionnaires. I'm expanding it, even though it's like a 7-page little booklet, but in terms of how much information and how multidimensional it is, it's like 7,000 pages as opposed to 7 pages with regard to understanding what the Prophet has given and what he has done. And there's some key numbers that I saw there in terms of, all right, chapter 1 of the Circle 7. If it's hydrogen, then it's all over. The creation and the fall of man, it's all over. We came into a spirit, ether came into a soul, and the soul came into the spirit, and the ether came into a body, a carnal, so that we can get the perfumes, the odors, the true sensations, and the all of Allah. And so the hydrogen molecule is that which goes everywhere, but yet is nowhere. In terms of the second chapter of the Circle 7, it talks about the education of Elizabeth and Mary and Elizabeth. And so helium is a noble gas. And so Mary and Elizabeth are getting that nobility from their teacher, who was, I think, Elihu and Salome. I think that I gotta go to my Circle 7, but I think that's who it was in terms of they were being taught in the garden. Mary and Elizabeth taught in Zoan in Egypt. Yeah. I apologize for not having this in my dial plate, but Elihu, I think that's Elihu.
That is correct, sister. That is in
that is correct.
On the Holy Prophet.
Yes.
Chapter 2, Education of Mary and Elizabeth in Zoan, Egypt. And that would be instruction 9, where it says Elihu and Solomon.
Yes, Salome, yes. Yes, Salome, yes.
Yes.
So the helium, that which, takes us up, takes us high, they're getting the information, all right? And so the third prime number is 3. 3, and then I'm looking at chapter 3 of the Circle 7 in terms of what is given by the Prophet. It is Elihu's lesson, the unity of life, and that's where we learn about the higher self and the lower self, and so the third element is what is the third element? The third element is lithium, which is a metal. And so and it's a soft metal, and I'm looking at a brittle, and I'm looking at the correspondence, because that's what I'm saying. This is multidimensional, from the subatomic particles to the manifestation of the physical, the carnal. Noble Ali gave us these things to examine. Like I say, scholarship is necessary to understand what the Prophet has given us. It's something more than just sitting in a temple. Let me put it this way, sitting in a brick and mortar temple and being told what is, and as the Prophet said, man does not know by being told. Man knows not. He knows not by being told. So to take these elements and know that Mother can take all these elements and create a life form. She has that creative energy to create a life form from the elements. So I'm looking at, the I am to the manifestation of the physical. And then the next, Islam, I yield.
Islam, I just wanted to bring something out in terms of, again, you're speaking of the higher forms and the higher thinking. And looking at the word hydrogen, if you break that word down, it is really high, as in H-I-G-H, and then androgen, which is mother.
All right.
High androgen. So when we talk about androgyny and those sorts of things, that is still mother, hydrogen, and that is what makes it the first chemical element in the chart, because everything, again, as Empress Bloom says all the time, everything starts with mother. And then when you look at helium, then comes the sun, helium. And that word can also be broken down as heal, I am.
Islam.
So again, it's still more of mother. Islam.
Islam. So I'll stop, but I'm going on to number 5 and looking at chapter 5 of the Circle 7. All right, so what does it talk about in chapter 5 of the Circle 7? It talks about, let's see here, beg your pardon. After the feast, the homeward journey, the missing Jesus or Justice, the search for him. His parents find him in the temple. He goes with them to Nazareth. Symbolic meaning of the carpenter's tools. So the elements are the carpenter's tools. The elements are the carpenter's tools. And so we build something without the sound of hammer or saw. We build things like that. That creative spirit that created everything that is, was, and ever was, or evermore to be. That spirit, we have that within us. And so that fifth element is boron. And I'm delving into it to make the comparative study as to the chapters as well as the numbers. And I'm going through the prime numbers because, again, I'm sharing that this is Allah and you. Because there's only two integers with regard to that. The one and the facing of that one. So the 5, it only has itself and the facing of itself. And that's what we're trying to do, trying to attempt to share. We are sharing in terms of facing self, higher self, lower self. Knowing that, all these things are illusions and will pass away. So, we can move on. We don't have to be caught in getting drunk on the wine of carnal things, as the Circle 7 describes. All right? So then comes the next number. The prime number is 13. No, did I say 13? Yes. It is helium, lithium. I'm sorry, 15 is boron. 15 is boron. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm sorry. 5 is boron. The next number is 17, nitrogen. And so there again, it being a gas, and that it's a major component of the air that we breathe. It's a major component. And I'm trying to relate it to question 17. Question 17. What does question 17 say? What is our religion? Islamism.
Actually, nitrogen is 7.
All right. I'm sorry.
7.
All right,
the
7.
number 7.
All right. So my vision is just, all right. Nitrogen is 7. I apologize. So 7. So question 7. Let's go to question 7. It says, what is the duty of a prophet? To save nations from the wrath of Allah. So nitrogen. I'm trying to relate these things. Nitrogen, let's see. Nitrogen, that noble gas. That's a noble gas. So we're looking at what is the duty of a prophet? To be noble. to save nations from the wrath of Allah. And I'm going to go back to question 5. Who is Noble Drew Ali? He is Allah's prophet. And so, I'm looking at Boron. Question 3. Can we see him? Can we see him? No, lithium. Do you follow what I'm saying? Are there any questions? Are we understanding what I'm trying to convey? Are we understanding? Yes, no.
Yes, sis. I'm just curious. I'm just attempting to see how this continues to unfold. But right now, no, I'm not quite clear what's going on.
All right. So the elements. All right. The elements. Those are the atomic particles that compose us as living, breathing beings on Midgard, on the earth. All right. And so I'm looking at how the prophet, because he was a metaphysician, he had been to the mystery schools, and this was some of his methodologies, because I looked at the prime numbers, again, prime numbers relating to 1 and the number itself. 1 and the number itself is divisible by 1 and the number itself, not by anything else, by 1 and there's nothing else. So we have to see that this is a way that we can understand what Allah is trying to transmit through his holy prophet, holy and divine prophet. Do you follow me?
No.
No?
No, ma'am.
All right. So, in other words, there's
where this is going, but I mean, when you spoke earlier, when, like you said, it's the Twilight Zone, it's like really not really much we need to, really focus on as far as getting the clarity on self. Now, taking time to see where we at and what we putting together for the long haul, or at least, this next wave of what we're dealing with as a people, as a nation, as a frequency, if you will.
It's all.
It's all.
And as one of the brothers shared with me, he said, I'll sleep on it. And so these ideas and these thoughts that we're working on right now are the thoughts that we're sleeping on. Because when you actually lay down your head and close your eyes, that's the real world. That is the reality. That's the life that we had decided to leave from the great I am. Do you follow?
Yes, oh, yes, Islam. That, we covered that. So, yes, Islam, I'm definitely on board with that. As far as that's my viewpoint as well. This is when we're, like you just said, sleep. And we die every time we take a nap or, go to bed or what have you. But that's when we really living.
Right.
When we're not in the cares of this world.
Yes. And those are the thoughts we're developing, because it says a soldier never knows his strength until he meets a foe. And so thought is developed by the exercise of strength. So as we're sleeping on these thoughts, because this is the real sleep, we're sleeping on these thoughts. There is, in the other realm, when we go to that lay our head down and close our eyes, we're manifesting in the thought realm how we're going to overcome those things that need to be overcome, to raise ourselves to our higher self, to be that part of Allah. Islam?
Islam.
All right. So I stand corrected with regard to 7, that's nitrogen. The next number that I see is 11, and that's sodium. And I'm looking at chapter 11 of the Circle 7. That is the chapter that deals with, let's see, what does it say? Chapter 11. Jesus and Baraka together, they read the sacred books. And so sodium, that's very key to our existence, a very key metal that's important to our existence, sodium. Salt, to the salt of the earth, the cell salts that we know that we need to maintain our existence, which is partly the subatomic particles that Mother has given us, the first 9, and then the other 3 that are necessary to complete that complete body, to make that body complete. And in the number 11, question number 11 is where was Noble Drew Ali born? In the state of North Carolina, 1886. The salt of the earth, the salt of the earth. I'm working these things out as I go through them, and like I say, these thoughts are a lot of work, a lot of going through a lot of things to assemble, because thing means to assemble, to have a meeting, to have counsel, to have a discussion about how we are going to ascend to that higher self, because this is what it's all about, to get to that love divine, to become one with Allah again. I'm trusting that people are understanding where I'm going with this, because it's a broad horizon, because we're saying grand rising, but it's a broad horizon that we're coming to in the revelation of who we are and why we came here in the first place, and what our experiences are and how we can share those experiences, because it says, united we stand, divided we fall. And the Allah has given us, it says, the gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah, and He appointed to everyone his portion in what measure seemeth good unto himself. So everyone has a portion in this understanding, in this greater understanding of the I am that we're coming to, that there's something greater than this physical form that we manifested in, although we had to go through it in order to get to it. So
Islam.
At Islam, I yield.
Islam. As you're reading through the atomic numbers and the chemical element that goes with that atomic number, I've been looking up the characteristics of those particular elements and see how they match with the question. And so when you read about sodium, about question number 11, that's the atomic number. One of the characteristics of sodium is extremely active chemically. And so our prophet was born, that was question 11, where was he born? And I do have a little bit of an issue with that question, with the answer to that question, simply because I know that North Carolina is not a real thing. That's not a real thing. But I'm still working through that. That's something I have to work through. When they say he was born in the state of North Carolina, to me that's not really a thing. State of North Carolina is not a thing. But back to the issue. When our prophet was born, one of the things he talked about was active Moors. So he brought that back to our remembrance as well. And that is where the correlation between sodium, which is chemically, is extremely active chemically. And it's also one of the base characteristics of sodium is that it is solid. And he gave us, our prophet, when he came, he gave us a solid, he added to the solid foundation that our ancestors left for us. And so there are direct correlations between the chemicals, their atomic numbers, and the questions in the 101. We just have to make those connections. And then we take those connections a step further and say, how much sodium do we have in our makeup? How solid are we? How active are we? And we can look at each one of these elements knowing that we have a part of these elements in us. and then work to increase the elements based on our diet and all of that, and how much water we drink, and going back to being alkaline instead of acidic, we can raise the elements to the point where we are exactly where we should be, and so that our body and chemical makeup matches the 101s, and it also matches nature.
Islam. Yes.
And
yes.
So, you know, that's what I'm seeing based on what you're saying. It makes complete sense when you really start digging into what that means. And then Empress Energy L she mentioned something very key and important. She mentioned how we are to proceed as we move on with the things that we're faced with, that we're being faced with. And knowing our chemical makeup and how to balance that with our diet and balance that with what we consume and even with what we read and see and our meditation practices and things like that, we can add homeostasis to our system, which is balance, so that whatever we face coming down the pike, because we got some stuff to do. We got some work to do. And as we face those things, the more balanced we are, the more peaceful we are, the more those things manifest. They manifest quicker and more in alignment with the frequency of the earth, when we know what we're made of, how to increase the things we need to increase and decrease, because the Albions have been using this same science that you're talking about, especially when I think about things like sodium. They've been using that against us, because then they'll say, well, you have too much salt in your system. You have high blood pressure. And now you can't do this, and you can't do that, and you can't do this. Well, we can rebut that with this very science. You know, going forward, we know we can discuss among ourselves. Okay, those who had that spell cast on them, because it's just a spell. Those who had that spell cast on them can remedy that spell with proper science, because they were not using proper science; they were using animal science on us. So, with that, I yield.
All right. So I just want to go back to chapter 2 for a minute. It says, I beg your pardon, chapter 3. It says, verse 14, if you would ask me what to study, I would say yourselves, and you well have studied them, and then would ask me what to study next. I would reply yourselves. So, this is all this information is us. The chemical elements. Who came up with these things? We did. Who is the one that can create beings from nothingness? Who is set off by a spark? Who is this? And we've done these things numberless times. And so let's get back to our sciences. Because I was trying to get to the study of what science is. And, you state the problem, and then you do some observations, you do some experiments, and you do create a hypothesis from that, and then you do some more observations, some more experiments, and then you can come to a theory about, how you can proceed, which would be a maxim of how you could proceed. And so these are maxims, evidence of an existence. Evidence of what is it? Self-evident truths. Maxims are self-evident truths, and we have allowed ourselves to get lost in carnal things and not examine the truth, because truth does not change or pass away. It always is. It's the rootless root and the causeless cause. And so we must get back to our sciences, our original sciences, the Moorish science, the science of being a Moor, the science of being a Moabite, the science of the Atlanteans, the science of the Lemurians, the science of the Gaians, the science of the Asiatics. We've gotten away from our sciences because we've been diverted too long And we played too long in a puddle of mud. We've been playing too long. It's time to get serious with regard to what it is we are and why we're here and what we're to do. What we're to do next. And it's not play more in the mud. It's not to get more dirty in the mud. It's to raise ourselves to that light, that higher self. We're light seeds. We're seeds of light. And we came here to do a job. And these things I'm trying to remind us, that these are some of our tools for the workshop of the mind. These are some of our tools. And to climb that 3-step ladder, faith, hope, and love, and to climb that 12-step ladder so that we can climb up to that higher self, that tether, that pineal gland, so that we can see again. So at this point, I did want to go back because I made a mistake. I forgot. 6. 6 is carbon, but 6 is a perfect number. It's not a prime number. It is a perfect number. So what does perfect mean? It means all there are positive integers that add up to the number of 6. So 1, 2, and 3, that makes up 6. And the only other perfect numbers that we're going to be dealing with in this work that I'm sharing is 28, because the next is 400 and some odd, and then the next is 8,100 and some. But to deal with this, the perfect number is 6, and the next perfect number is 28. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. So let's get back to all right. So I think I did 11. So the next number is aluminum. 13, chapter 13, aluminum, and chapter 13. Excuse me. Let me get this right here. Chapter 13. Chapter 13 is life and works of Jesus in Egypt among the Gentiles. And I said aluminum, and it's aluminum. And so I'm trying to correspond these things with the elements, how the elements correspond. And like I say, I'm trusting that those who within the sound of my voice will be looking these things up and expanding their horizons. We say grand risings, but let's grand horizon. There's a grand horizon coming for all of us that we must be prepared for. And how we be prepared for that is to study ourselves. And in another passage where he says, study, study, study. And when you have studied yourselves, when you have studied well and ask me what next to study, I say study yourselves. So let's get on the study. But the study, not only that, is the application. The application. It's just not just sitting here and collecting information and not utilizing the information that we collect. It's the application. To have the tools. Like in certain instances, I realized I had the tools, but I didn't know what to do with the tools. I had a hammer, a saw, and a screwdriver, and I didn't know what to do with the tools, how to utilize the tools. And lo and behold, someone came up and said, I know how to use these tools, and they used it against me. And so that was my lesson. Not only do I have to gather the tools, I must know their usages and how to use them, knowing to use them. All right. So aluminum, that's quite. I think it's very prevalent in the metal world. Very prevalent, and it's used commercially quite frequently. Let's see. Number 13. I'm going to go back to number 13 of the Circle 7. What is your nationality? Moorish American. Moorish American. And if we understand the alignment with aluminum, we are going to have to study these things and figure these things out. I'm working on it. To get to a better understanding of what it is that Allah was transmitting in terms of, and the Great Mother was transmitting to me the information and how I can use it to get to my higher self. I'll go 2 more because I think it's 27 altogether, prime numbers that I will be dealing with. All right. So the next one is 17, which is chlorine, which is a gas, and it can be very noxious gas. But chapter 17 in the circle 7, it talks about Jesus making an appearance, and he says, you know, my life has been one great drama for the sons of men, you know, because he's willing to set a pattern for the sons of man so that they know that they can be what he was. And so, you know, you're starting out with a polarity. A polarity is something that, you know, it has both in it. It's already there, the good and the bad, although we know that there is no good energy or bad energy. It's just energy. It's how you perceive it to be. It's how you look at it. So are there any questions, comments, concerns, objections? I yield right now.
You talking about number 17, you say it's relating to how you look at it through describing, because you mentioned is chlorine, was it chlorine?
Yeah, yes.
And you was talking about how do you look at it, because 17 say, what is your religion? And it's and the answer they have for it is Islam.
Islam.
Islamism. So
yes.
You're saying how do you look at it, because the way I've been looking at it is that I'm not Islam. I'm not Islamism. And the reason why I say that, because I come to the conclusion in my mind that if I'm a part of the one and I am that I am, then Islamism is I am that I am is something that was before I began time. So if I'm relating back to the true I am, then I'm not Islamism. I don't know if you can see what I'm trying to explain, because
I can.
To me, I'm thinking Islamism is mostly man-made, and what I am. That's it. So explain that. That's just my thought on that.
All right, that's good. That's good, because Islam is an acronym for I, self, law, and master. It's an acronym, and you have I am in there. I, self, law, and master. And the Islamism is I, self, law, and master in science and math. That's the acronym. So it is with a search for ourselves, because that's what it says. If you would study yourself and ask me what next to study yourselves, your higher self and your lower self. So I have to be I am. To get back to the I am, I, self, law, must master self so that I can be, so that I am, so that I can be. Because this is about the metaphysics of, or the science of being, or it deals with the science of the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is that you're part of the great I am. And Islam, it has it in there in terms of Islam, but we're not talking, we said Islamism, because we're not talking about that which, you know, is practiced in the other part of the world, all right? We're talking about, we're not talking about that, because from my perspective, and my perspective only, they're searching for self outside themselves, not within. If you must look for your Savior, you must look within. If you must look for your devil, you must look within. You're looking within, not looking without, you know, for somebody else to, yes, we do rituals, yes, and we do rite symbolic. So going around the Kaaba, you know, 7 times, that cube 7 times, that's a rite symbolic. But the point of the matter is you must look within to find out who you are, not outside yourself. Ain't nobody coming out here to save you. You must save yourself. You must redeem yourself. And that's why I go back to my definition of love, to learn and to teach true knowledge from the heart for divine redemption, for your own redemption. For you must redeem yourself, because we came here, fell into a prison and a school. But see, like the point of the matter is, you're in a prison, but you can get yourself out of it by studying yourself and going through that school, going through those dismal crypts, so that you understand the reflection of self. Islam, I yield.
Islam. Thank you. Thank you. That was good. Thank you. That was very helpful.
Islam.
Islam.
Empress, I think it's profound, very profound, that you're focusing on prime numbers. I looked up the word prime, and prime means first in time.
Islam.
It means original.
Islam.
It means first in quality. It means of the highest excellence, as a prime cut of, they say, as a prime cut of beef in this book, but we're talking more about our makeup and about us being who we are. It also means first in degree, first in dignity, first in influence. And then I looked up chlorine because we were on number 17, and the occupiers, I'll say the occupiers. The occupiers tend to make chlorine sound like it's bad. They say poisonous, gaseous chemical, but then right after that, it talks about it is used in water purification. So it's used to purify water, and we already know we're 75 to 78% water.
Yes.
We came here in water.
Yes.
And so chlorine is going to be something that's necessary for us, but not the man-made chlorine. It's going to always be the natural chlorine. And with that idea.
Yes, and in proportion and balance, and according to balance, we're always looking for balance. That's what it is. Balancing that which is balancing that which is. So, all right. So I'm going on to let's see. The next prime number is 19, and that has to do with potassium. And so I look at question 19 of the 101s, and I come up with what kind of a flag is the Moorish? It is a red flag with a 5-pointed green star in the center. And so potassium, how necessary potassium is to our existence, for our hearts, that's one of the minerals that we need to help sustain. And like I'm saying, we got to examine these things. Let's be scholarly about this. Let's use our science. This is our science. Let us use our science. Stop letting someone else do the science when you have, when you have the ability, and you have the responsibility to utilize that which the Most High, the creative force, the creative energy Allah has given thee. It's your responsibility. And if you fail, then with regard to not demonstrating that you understand what Allah has given you, it usually, as it says, nature knows no station or person or station. Nature doesn't care about that, your person or your station. And so, we suffer the consequences. But if you just go ahead and, if we just go ahead and take our responsibility, our ability to respond accordingly to the laws of nature and nature's God, if we understand how to utilize those laws, we take ourselves to the higher realms and get back to the great I am, where we all originated from. Islam? The next prime number is 23, and that's vanadium. And I didn't get quite a good understanding of what vanadium is, but that, I'm going to balance that out and get, a better understanding of what vanadium is. And I don't know, Light, do you have something on vanadium? I can't find my book. Let's see what my book is. Vanadium.
I'm looking it up right now.
All right. So.
Vanadium.
23.
Yes,
23.
I do.
All right.
It
Give us a little bit?
rare. Yes, it is a rare, malleable, ductile, silver white metallic chemical element. It is alloyed with steel, to which it adds tensile strength. So it adds strength to steel. And the symbol for is V. We know V is important where we're concerned. I'm seeing a pattern also in all of these elements. It seems like they all have white in them, in their makeup. Each one of the makeups of these elements, the characteristics rather, is saying silver white or white metallic chemical, white this and white that and white this. And we already know that we are the white people.
Islam.
And it's beginning to, I knew that we were white because of just in terms of chromosomes, because chroma means colorless. I believe it means color, and soma means body. And we know that we're the white people in that respect because we are pure in that way. We are X's. We don't have anything else mixed with those X's. And then everything else comes from that. So we're white where chromosome count is concerned and chromosome makeup, and we're also white here based on the elements that we are made of, and which match that of the earth. So I'm gaining an understanding here, even where that's concerned. So vanadium adds strength, Empress. Islam, I yield.
Islam, and so I didn't do chapter 17. It says Jesus appears fully materialized before Apollo and the Silent Brotherhood in Greece, appears to Claudius and Juliet on the Tiber near Rome, appears to the priest in the Egyptian temple at Heliopolis, the city of the sun. So it's a lot. It's quite a bit to go between, and the interstices of what the prophet has given us. So 17, and the next one will be 23. But 17, chlorine. I'm adding these things up. We're to add and multiply to get to the answer of X. X must equal truth. And so we're adding and multiplying these things. So, all right, so let me get back to chapter 23, because I said
Islam.
Islam. I will.
How do you spell that word? I don't know if I heard you right. Is it Palladium? Palladium? How do you spell that?
Like V is victory. V is victory. VAN. AD. IUM.
Okay, thank you.
Islam. So then, chapter 23, that's when I found that out, I said, look at that lineup. Chapter 23, holy instructions for thy children. I said, yes. The prophet was, yes,
adding strength.
Yes. Islam.
Islamism.
Yes. Islam. All right, so the next one, my favorite, one of my favorites, 29. Copper, baby. Copper. 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 Hey, copper-colored people that were here, the Aboriginal indigenous people, copper-colored races who were here before the European arrived. The copper-colored. And copper is associated with Venus, our 5-pointed green star in the center. Green is also associated with copper, because if you let it stand out in the water in the rain, it takes a certain green patina, a green coating on it. You know. So chapter 29. Let's see. Bloom, which one is
May I read a little bit about copper, because it has some qualities that we definitely have. Copper is an excellent conductor of electricity and heat.
Islam.
And we know that we receive the downloads that we receive based on the electromagnetic frequency of the earth and the atmosphere.
Islam.
And so clearly we have that is in our makeup. It is a reddish-brown, malleable, ductile, metallic element. Let's see. And then the word comes from Cooper, C-U-P-E-R, the Latin Cooper, or Cyprum, which is a derivative of Cyprium. And the island, it comes from the Greek island Cyprus, the island where the best copper was produced previously. But the best copper actually comes from our landmass here. So
Islam. Yeah. So I'm looking at chapter 29, and that is the holy instructions from the prophet, magistrate and subject. Magistrate and subject. So we have to be malleable, to know that you're going to be a magistrate, but you also, in terms of the subject, you got to be malleable in terms of honor. And the magistrate must be honorable. Islam. Bloom, you having a problem with your?
Yeah,
it keeps resounding.
Huh?
It keeps resounding. Oh, an echo.
It keeps what? I don't know what's going on. And there's no sound here. It's very quiet where I am, so I'm not certain why, and so I have to keep it on mute. But I'm trying to interject in Islam in here, but I don't know why. So I'm just going to keep it on mute so it doesn't disturb anything. Islam.
Well, do you have something to comment on?
I'm deep in. It's I mean, you two are. It's perfect. It's not right now. I'm deep in. It's all laid out.
Islam. All right. So the next one I see is 31, or gallium. And so chapter 31 of the Circle 7 says, holy instructions from the prophet, justice. Here we go again, justice. And so gallium, because like Galilee, when Yeshua was going to Galilee, and the Milky Way is called the galaxy, which talks about milk, that substance, and gal means milk, like we come from the Milky Way. So, what am I looking at? 29 of the 29 of the 101s. 29 says, what did it say? 29.
How long has that been? About 2,000 years ago. It's asking the question about why did Allah send Jesus to this earth? That's in 28, and it said to save the Israelites from the iron hand oppression of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, who were governing a portion of Palestine at that time. And then question 29 is, how long has that been? About 2,000 years ago.
Islam. So,
and gallium is also another silvery. It's also another silvery metal.
Islam.
All right. Islam.
Are we following a pattern here? Because that's what he said in chapter 17. You know, my life has been one great drama for the sons of men. Let's see, how's it go?
Gallium also has a very low, unusually low melting point.
Oh, all right. All right.
Yeah, because it's so malleable, like she was saying with the, let me see, low melting point. This is
so it's used as a substitute in thermometers. It's used as a substitute for mercury. So it has a temperature threshold that is exceptional.
So, Bloom, you got to mute again.
Say that one more time.
You have to mute.
Yes.
All right. All right. All right. So chapter 17 was saying, you know, my life has been one great drama for the sons of men, you know, so that I can demonstrate a pattern for all right, so it says, my human form was wholly given to bring my will to tune with the deific will. When this was done, my earth task all were done. And you know, my brothers, know well, full well, the foes I had to meet. You know about my victories in Gethsemane, my trials in the courts of men or minds, my death upon the cross. You know my life is one great drama for the sons of men, a pattern for the sons of men. I've lived to show the possibilities of men or minds. What I have done, all men can do, and what I am, all men shall be. So I'm looking at a pattern here with regard to the elements, the elementary school. We were given certain clues, elementary school, elementary. Went to elementary school, although it was not taught the elements in terms of our relationship to the elements, but it does not negate the fact that we're still responsible for learning it now, for assessing it now, for utilizing it now. And so, gallium. The next one I see, the next prime number I see is 37, rubidium. And again, I'm going to ask my good sister Light if she has something to expose about rubidium.
Islam, I'm looking it up right now. If I could come to that. Rubidium.
So,
okay.
All right, in the meantime, it says it's number 37. Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name? Yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin. So 37. You got something for me, like rubidium?
Yes. Let's see. Rubidium. It is. Rubidium. It's a noun, and it's red. That's what it says. Red. It says, well, the word is of the Latin meaning red, and then it is a
ruby. Think of the gemstone ruby.
Yes, empress. Yes, Islam. It's a silvery white metallic chemical element resembling potassium. And it says deep red is what the word means.
Islam.
And we know what red is with us.
Right, and symbolically, white is purity, and the red is the blood. So when we're virginal, we're considered to be, that white element. You wear your white wedding gown, and all that other kind of stuff. And then when you become of age, then the blood happens. The sacrifice, happens. So from the Virgin Mother and crone, Virgin Mother and crone. And if I find this out that crone is something else, I'm just going to be amazed. But not amazed, but just connecting the threads that were given and that I possibly might have left for myself. These threads, all right. So ruby red, ruby, and the ruby slippers that Dorothy wore, ruby red slippers. All right, so chapter 37 of Circle 7 is called The Breath of Heaven. Holy instruction from the prophet, the breath of heaven. Oh, man. Oh, my stars. Oh, rubidium. Wow. This is unfolding for me also as I go through this. This is really unfolding for me. So I'm just sharing, the unfoldment with the rest who are within the sound of my voice. This is wonderful. It's wonderful food. All right. So the next one is 41. Niobium. And so when I look at chapter 41, I'm looking at holy instruction from the prophet in constancy. Whoa. So niobium. We got something light? We got something? Niobium?
Yes, I do. It is niobium. The name is from the Latin Niobe, daughter of Tantalus.
Ooh.
It is a rare metallic chemical element with properties like those of tantalum. Let's see. Niobe. And it doesn't give, we'll have to do further investigation into this because it does not really give any characteristics of it, which means we should really be looking at it.
Right.
Because they didn't give much.
Right.
So I'm going to go out onto the web and see what I can find about the two empresses. But I yield. Go ahead.
Right. Islam. So, all right. So, niobium. The next one that I come upon is
technetium.
Technetium.
43.
Yeah, 43. And so when I look at chapter 43, it is holy instructions from the prophet, the insufficiency of knowledge. Wow, insufficiency of knowledge. And did I do the numbers from the circle from the 101s? Let's see.
No, so we got to go back to 41. What is the ever? Oh yes, you did. Did you do what is the everlasting gospel? No. It is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers by His prophet. So that was the niobium. What is the everlasting gospel? It is a saving power that comes from Allah through our ancient fathers. And 43 for technetium, the question in the 101s is, at what age did Jesus begin to teach? At the age of 12.
And if we even think about technique, technique and technium, advancement and techniques, how we do things, And so Yeshua at 12, he was advanced enough to go out and start teaching because he had that knowledge. I think it's chapter 5 where he's listed as being, he's not arguing, he's discussing with the doctors of the law. In other words, he was challenging what they were saying in chapter 5. Let's see. It says, the guards replied, yes, he is in the temple now, disputing with the doctors of the law. So Yeshua, at 12 years old, he's disputing with the doctors of the law. And technium, let's see, do I have anything with technium? Anybody else have anything with technium? Are there any questions, comments, and concerns? Because I'm not hearing from but a few more. I like someone else to respond. Where's my sons at? They're quiet.
They're absorbing. They're absorbing all of this divinity.
Islam, I just have a thought.
Islam.
It just came to me. Whether it makes sense or not, but you say at the age of 12, was that his actual age, or is that 12 could be run a reference to something else also? Because it's saying at the age of 12 is like a completion.
Yes,
so,
and you know,
is he actually 12 years old, or is this another? Could it be something else in there symbolic to the 12?
You know it very well because you have the gift of understanding, all right? So you must contribute if you have your gift of understanding because you are a portion, you're appointed your portion of that treasure, you know, and what measures good unto yourself. So yes, these are something to be considered. In terms of 12, 12 houses, 12 zodiac signs, that 12-step ladder, that let's see, the 12 disciples, the 12 minor prophets, the 12 major prophets. These are things that we must consider. Consider means to go with the stars. And so you have your portion, and I'd like you to share it because united we stand, divided we fall. If we can come to a collective consciousness, hey, we got this made. We got it made.
I'd also like to contribute to consider the age when we're talking about the zodiac. The 12th sign is Pisces, and that Christhood, all of that was occurring in the age of Pisces. So that's something to consider as well. So that age, when we hear age, is not limited to the way that we, understand it. It's talking about cycle ages. And so the age of 12, that is the age of Pisces. So, and then 12 is 3. Add that 1 and 2 is 3, and then that's that trinity. That's that prime number. So, Islam,
Islam.
My question. And I thought about that also because I was in my mind trying to run reference to what you call the harmony, because what I got out of number 11, I got out of it the 12 salts, the 12 zodiac, and the 12 justice. So,
yes.
So, because all of this, when it goes around, all of it got to fall in harmony. So that's how I got that. That's why I come up with that thought. So I do.
Yes. There was someone else?
Yes, Islam. You mentioned the 12 major prophets and the 12 minor prophets. I'm not familiar with them.
Mm-hmm.
Or are you talking about the zodiac signs?
Now, in the Old Testament, there are major prophets. There are 12 major prophets who predicted things. Who were giving us keys to how we were to go to the New Testament, the New Age, the new eon that was coming. Because we went from the Taurian to Taurus, worshiping the calf, to worshiping the ram. Then the Piscean era was that patriarchy, that era at that time, that we were in darkness, but yet, that darkness is where everything begins. Life begins in the darkness. So, those things are to be developed, to unfold in the darkness. And then here we are in the age of Aquarius. And so this is the enlightened age. We've done our due diligence within, and now we're able to show our light. And so I don't have the 12 major prophets in front of me, but they are also demonstrations of the metaphysics or the science of being. And those are meant to show us that we're to raise ourselves to our highest selves, that which is the Allah that was within us, the I am that is within us. And I will make it my charge to get the 12 major prophets and the 12 minor prophets so that, you can understand where it is that I'm going with this. All right? Islam?
Islam. Thank you. I yield.
Islam. All right. So the next, did we do the question for...
Yes. At what age? That was 43. Yes.
All right.
Next
all
one
right.
47. Silver.
All right. 47, the silver. So what does it say for 47 and the 101?
What is truth? Truth is art. And that silver, it says, I'm reading from this this book that I have called Rare Earths, Forbidden Cures. And it just says briefly, silver has been employed in human healthcare and in the search for immortality since the days of the Chinese alchemists 8,000 years ago. So truth is art.
Yes.
What
Islam.
is truth?
Islam.
Silver. Islam.
Islam. Anyone else? Anyone else?
Silver, a white, precious, metallic chemical element that is extremely ductile and malleable, capable of a high polish, and an excellent conductor of heat and electricity.
That's so delicious. And guess what?
Chapter 40. The definition of silver here says money of any kind.
Islam.
Islam. And money, so that's moon, that's mother, that's money, mama, mother, moon, yes, Islam.
Monday, moon day, moon degree, And this is the temple of the moon and the sun, And then I'm going to chapter 47. Chapter 47. Egypt, the capital empire of the dominions of Africa, the dominion of Africa. And that's our estate, our vast estate. That's silver.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah,
chapter 47. Chapter 47.
Islam. It's so beautiful. We're so rich. We're so abundant. Islam.
Yes. So are the rest of the Moors feeling rich now? Are they feeling any richer? You're watching the comments. Are the Moors feeling any richer with regard to this?
Islam, yes.
Yeah.
Islam.
Silver can kill a vampire.
Islam.
That's good. That's really good. Yes. All right. So that's the end of the chapters of the book.
but we still got the rest of the questions in the 101-mile walk that we're climbing. All right. So then, all right. So after silver comes 53, iodine.
Iodine. Where is the Garden of Eden? In the land of Canaan, in the city of Mecca.
Islam, the iodine. Lights, Jerry, where you at? I need you. Where you at?
I'm on it. I'm looking right now. I'm a little bit late, but I'm looking. Okay. Iodine. Oh, here it is. Okay. Iodine is from the Greek iodes, which means violet-like, a violet. It is a non-metallic chemical element belonging to the halogen family and consisting of grayish-black crystals that volatilize into a violet-colored vapor used as an antiseptic. Yes, and it's also used to manufacture dyes in photography. Tincture of iodine used as an antiseptic. So it's a cleanser, an antiseptic. And it's violet, as in the auras, how some people look at people and they see violet-colored aura,
yes.
purple aura, etc.
Yes.
Islam.
And true to form is following that spectrum: white, red, and then violet. Baby, mother, crone is following that pattern. And oh my stars, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Islam. Look for the patterns. That must be the message. Look for the patterns. Yes. That's the message.
Yes.
Because
yes,
nothing is a coincidence. There are no coincidences. There's a pattern to all that we are and all that is in nature. All of that. Islam. Entropy.
Islam.
369.
Islam. Yeah, 369.
Yes.
Islam. All right. 59. Praesiodium. I'm going to say it that way. Praesiodium. So 59. What's 59? Question 59.
Question, what is the modern name given to their children? Asiatics. So that's continuing from 57, who were Adam and Eve. They are the mothers and fathers of the human family, Asiatics and Muslims. 58 is where did they go? They went into Asia. And 59, what is the modern name given to their children? Asiatics. And I'll let Light tag team the rest.
All right, Light, where you at? Give me some light.
Myself. I'm sorry. I keep muting myself. Sorry. Praesiodium. It is green. So, Empress, it is following that rainbow. I was always wondering what the rainbow flag really meant, because it did not mean what they said it meant, but this is actually what it means too. This is one of the meanings of it. It's from the Greek praesios, which means green. It's a metallic chemical element of the rare earth group, whose salts are generally green in color. So it's very rare. And a praesiolite is a green mineral, chiefly silicate of aluminum, magnesium, iron, closely related to iolite. So it's green. Green is a huge part of this.
Yes.
And I don't know what green means in our color spectrum just yet. I haven't gotten that far, but I know we have scientists who know that among us. Islam. I yield.
And then in this book, again, the quick brief, it just says praesiodium enhances proliferation of normal cell growth and doubling of the lifespans in laboratory species.
Whoa. Whoa.
Wow. So that would actually be something that our Moorish scientists would put a little emphasis on if it's talking about doubling lifespan.
Islam. And that silver too. You know, everybody's seeking immortality, and truth is something that never dies, so that's immortal. Truth is immortal, and silver is that immortality. And you know, we're all using the colloidal silver and Islam.
Praseodymium also is the third member of the lanthanide series. It's traditionally considered to be one of the rare earth metals.
Mm.
Very good. Very good. Very good.
All righty. So continuing on, 61, promethium.
Yes, promethium. Question 61. What? Oh no, that's where we just were. 61. Oh, did we do 59? What is the modern name? Okay, that was 59. Yes. What is the modern name given to the Asiatics? Okay. And then what is the modern name for those angels? Asiatics. And that's continuing from the question 60. Who is guarding the holy city of Mecca today to keep the unbelievers away? The answer is angels. And 61. What is the modern name for those angels? Asiatics. Promethium.
Oh. Wow.
And
so,
Islam.
Yes.
I just think about what Sister Light was saying about the color green. Could it represent the womb of woman? How that close in on itself in order to digest or reproduce.
Wow. Because Mother Earth is green and brown. She has a lot of green, you know.
Yes.
Yes. So,
promethium.
Yes.
It's from the word Prometheus, and Prometheus means forethinking or thinking before, to learn. In Greek mythology, Prometheus was the son of the Titan Iapetus, who took pity on the misery of mankind and stole fire from heaven for their benefit. Zeus, Jupiter, enraged at the favor this gift procured him, caused him to be chained to a rock on Mount Caucasus, where a vulture each day devoured his liver, which was made whole again each night. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yes. Yes.
And also Promethium, it used to be called Illinium or Illinium, as in illuminate, Illinium. Islam, I yield.
Islam. All right. So the next prime number is
67.
Yes, holmium.
Holmium. Question. All right, and this is the follow-up to 66. It says, how many selves are there? 2. 67. Name them. Higher self and lower self. Holmium.
Holmium.
Higher self and lower self. That's the wholeness of yourself. Holmium. Even though it's
yes.
Even though it's HOLMIUM, it's still holmium. Your whole self is your higher self and your lower self.
Yes, Islam. It's holmium is from the Latin for Holmia, Latinized form of Stockholm. a metallic chemical element of the rare earth group, whose atomic number is 67. It doesn't give us much more than that, so I'll have to go out and find it. Holmium. Let me just do a quick. Holmium is a chemical element with the rare earth symbol HO and atomic number 67. Part of the lanthanide series, holmium, let's see, let me read one, what's the, just a moment. I want to read some of the characteristics of it really quickly. Oh, they called it when it was first discovered, it was discovered as the element X. That was what they called it. They announced the discovery of element X, the element we now call holmium. Let's see. It is silvery white. Let's see. All right. Yeah, it's a bright silver, soft silvery white rare earth metal. It does not react in dry air at normal temperatures, but rapidly oxidizes to a yellow oxide in moist air or when heated. When present in compounds, holmium exists usually in the trivalent state. Let's see, most holmium compounds are brownish yellow in color. So that may give us some of our brownness, our copper color. It is used in alloys for the production of magnets as a flux concentrator for high magnetic fields, which is interesting. High magnetic fields. Holmium isotopes are good neutron absorbers and are used in nuclear reactor control rods. So it's a controller. It's a controller. And it's also used as a yellow or red coloring for glass and cubic zirconia. Zirconia. Islam. Holmium is also used in solid-state lasers for non-invasive medical procedures, treating cancers and kidney stones. That's interesting. Islam, I yield. Wow.
Islam. All right, so the next prime number I see is 71 is lutetium, or lutetium.
Lutetium, yes. 71. Can the higher self pass away? No.
No.
And then that 71 is 8, that infinity, so no.
Islam. So where we at, Light?
Lutetium, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, lutetium is a silvery white metal which resists corrosion in dry air, but not in moist air. It is the last element in the lanthanide series and is traditionally counted among the rare earths. So it's a rare earth as well.
Islam.
I wanted to read just a couple of the, an overview. A couple of its characteristics include, let me just see. Okay, go on, Empress. I yield. I'm not seeing what I need to see. Oh, all right. It says that lutetium is the densest and the highest melting rare earth metal. The highest melting rare earth metal. And I'm not really sure. I'd have to look a little bit further into it, but its crystal structure is hexagonal. So hexagonal. Its crystal structure is a hexagon. It's hexagonal. Now that says a lot. Yes.
Yes.
What are hexagons in our science? What does that mean in our science? That's what we have to look at.
Yes. So it's a hexagon. That's 5 or 6?
6.
6.
6 is hex.
Ooh.
And that's that hex 6 sex. Hex 6 sex.
Yes. And then 6 neutrons, 6 protons, 2 electrons, carbon.
Bam.
Well, let me look up. Say again? What did you say, Jessica?
What did you say?
Talking to me?
Yes.
I said completion of man.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Islam.
Wow.
Islam.
A hex, a witch, a sorcerer. Something to bewitch, to jinx. Hexa means 6. Hexagon, 6-cornered, a corner, an angle. In geometry, a plane figure of 6 sides and 6 angles. So there's 2 6s there. Having a 6-sided base or section. In crystallography, designating or of a system having 6-sided form. Interesting. Islam, I knew.
Islam. Okay. So where are we at here? 141.
73.
All right. 73 is tantalum.
All right. What does the lower self breed? Hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, and everything that harms. Tantalum. And I like to point out with that tantalum, when we think of like tant, it's like you're being tantalized by the lower self. That tantum, when people are having tantrums and all of that is lower self nature. So it's interesting that question is lining up with that element tantalum. Like, so Islam, I'll let Light demonstrate.
Islam, tantalum is named after Tantalus, a villain from Greek mythology. Tantalum is a rare, hard, blue-gray, lustrous transition metal that is highly corrosion resistant.
Wow.
It is the chemical inertness of tantalum makes it a valuable substance for laboratory equipment and as a substitute for platinum. Its main use today is tantalum capacitors in electronic equipment such as mobile phones, DVD players, video game systems, and computers. Tantalum, always together with the chemically similar niobium, which we looked at earlier, occurs in the mineral group tantalite, columbite, and coltan. Okay. Tantalum is considered a technology-critical element. Technology-critical, so they must have tantalum and we actually must have tantalum as we proceed in bringing out the inventions and the technology of our ancestors. Tantalum is necessary. Islam, I yield.
Islam.
You got something, Bloom?
I'm just putting it all together. Like as she's saying, absolutely the technology we're advancing. We must advance with technology, or therefore, if it's in the negative, yes, it will lead to all these lewdness. Because she was saying, what did she say? The internet, the video games, like all these things that
DVD players,
DVDs, like all this, like people are so hypnotized by this, by the technology, but not using it for the positive, for the advancement of ourselves. So therefore, it represents that lower self vibration, and so then it just goes back into that, tantrums, that things that tantalize you, to to the lower vibration. So yeah, just pulling it all together. It's beautiful. And someone in the chat keeps asking if it's do we have the geometric science of these? And I guess that would be for another unfoldment. Absolutely.
And I would like somebody to participate.
Yeah.
You're asking, this is your science. This is your science. United we stand, divided we fall, and you have given your gift of understanding. I can't know everything.
Yeah, it says, do we have the sacred geometry science pertaining to the elements? And so, yes, whoever's putting this in the chat, I won't put you on blast, but please, voice yourself if you feel so free to do.
Islam. It's me, brother Amos. That was me asking a question about the sacred geometry, and the only reason why I'm asking is because I just got introduced to that science, a couple of days ago, and I'm from what I'm comprehending, it's there's a divine mind, all is meant for the divine mind, and the thought.
Wait, Bloom, you got to mute.
Okay, I don't know where.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, from what I'm comprehending thus far, from what I've studied, there's the divine mind, and then the thought comes from the divine mind, which is its next stage after coming from the divine mind is its geometric shape. Then comes the actual physical manifestation of what the thought is. So as we're going through these elements, and I noticed the way we're cross-referencing back and forth with the numbers in the chapters of the Quran, and the questions and all that correspondence, first thought came to mind is, well, what does the geometric shape look like? Since that's like the primary stage before the actual physical expression of the element.
Islam. Yes. So
that's why I was inquiring.
Right, because I looked at the hexagonal shape of adrenochrome. When you look at the hexagonal, we can do it because we have those kinds of minds. Let's expand our minds. We have the faculties to do all that. We can take it to the higher realms. We can get it to that which we once were before. And I understand about the sacred geometry, because I used to have a couple of books on it, but that doesn't mean that I have it. But the Vitrium, I think it's called the Vitrium Man, where he stands out there, where I think it's Leonardo da Vinci, where his arms are outstretched, his legs are outstretched, and his head is above, and it's the circle being squared and the square being circled, So these are things to be looked into and investigated as Moors, because the more we have, the more science we have, the uniting of Asia is here. We've reached that pinnacle, the pinnacle of wisdom, becoming wise in the application of our principles of knowledge, So I yield at this one. I yield.
Islam. The hexagon is rooted. I'm reading from something called Eternal Symbols. The hexagon is rooted in the number 3, and it was used to convey the spiritual attainment of an individual on the mummified body in Egypt, and it is still used by tribes and communities on our earth today to refer to the same notion of spiritual attainment. It precedes the 7, which is wisdom has built. It says wisdom has builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. So once the 6th spiritual attainment is reached, then begins the journey to the 7, which is the wisdom of building, which is where we are now, really, in terms of nation building, etc.
Islam.
I yield.
Islam. All right. So here comes number 79. Number 79. We're doing the alchemy. Aren't we doing the alchemy? 79 is gold.
Yes, Islam.
All right. What did he have reference to? This is 79 question, and it's following the what are the last words Jesus uttered? It is finished. That was 78. 79 is what did he have reference to? He had reference to the end of Satan.
The gold. Yes. That's right.
The golden dawn, the golden age, the end of Satan.
Islam.
79, gold. It is one of the higher atomic number elements that occurs naturally. In a pure form, it is bright, slightly reddish yellow, dense, soft, malleable, and ductile. Gold is a transition metal and a group 11 element. It is one of the least reactive chemical elements and is solid under standard conditions. That's important where it says it's one of the least reactive chemical elements because even beyond gold, there's one element that is even more least reactive, if I can use that term. In other words, it is inert, basically. It is non-reactive. And that element is known as noble. It's N-O-B-L-E, like us.
All right.
It is
Islam.
the least reactive.
Islam.
Yes.
Islam. Yes. Are we not doing alchemy here? I yield.
And we're missing gold in our diet.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yes.
We got it in our cell phones. We got gold in our cell phones, but we don't have gold in our diet, So, all right. So the next prime number is 83. Bismuth.
All right, question 83. When was the head of Satan taken off? 1453.
Wow.
Byzantine.
Wow.
Byzantine.
Gold. Bismuth. Just a moment. Bismuth is a chemical element whose atomic number is 83. With chemical properties resembling its lighter group, 15 siblings, arsenic. So it resembles arsenic and antimony in chemical property. It occurs naturally. It is a brittle metal with a silvery white color when freshly produced, but surface oxidation can give it an iridescent tinge in numerous colors. It is naturally diamagnetic element and has one of the lowest values of thermal conductivity among metals. It was long considered the element with the highest atomic mass that is stable. But in 2003, it was discovered to be extremely weakly radioactive. So it's stable, highly stable, very highly stable. Considered to be one of the most stable. Because of its tremendously long half-life, bismuth may be considered stable for almost all purposes. And the half-life is, I think, the amount of time that it's half the amount of time that it takes for that.
What the fuck is up, people? How are you doing? What the fuck is going on?
The half-life is the amount of time that it takes the metal to decay. And that's a very elementary way of saying decay, saying what half-life is. Islam. I yield.
Islam. All right, so the next one is 89, actinium.
Question, what does Ethiopia mean? Ethiopia means something divided.
What we got?
Okay, actinium.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, let me just make sure I'm spelling that properly.
Mm-hmm.
89, actinium. Actinium is a silvery radioactive metallic element. It glows in the dark due to its intense radioactivity with a blue light. Glows in the dark. I want to, let's see, element properties. It is a solid. The Greek symbol alpha and metallic rays are representative of the element as a source of alpha radiation and also the origin of its name. It's a very powerful source of alpha rays, but is rarely used outside of research. Actinium is a soft, silvery white radioactive metal. And they say it has no known biological role, but they just don't know. We know, but they don't know. I believe that actinium, this is just my knowing in my inner self, knowing what I know about it, it's going to be more activated as we continue to evolve where that whole glow in the dark piece is concerned. Actinium occurs naturally in uranium ores. So uranium, we know about uranium as well. So, and then, let's see. There's so much they don't know about actinium. They don't know anything about the supply risk. They don't know about, let me see, pressure and temperature data. They don't have that much on that. So this is definitely something that we should look into over time.
In the little bit here that they have in this book, Rare Earths, actinium originates from igneous rocks, usually found at an extremely low concentration. And it says actinium is readily absorbed by plant roots. However, very little is transported to the stem, leaves, and shoots of the plant. Actinium accumulates and presumably has metabolic functions in the bones and liver.
Actinium's melting point is 1,922 degrees Fahrenheit. Its boiling point is 5,792 degrees Fahrenheit. And we know right now we're in the year 5780. Going into 5781. So at 5792, some may want to be very careful in terms of those that are not natural. Islam, I yield.
Islam. All right. Next prime number, 97, berkelium.
All right, question 97. Who is Elohim? Elohim is the 7 creative spirits that created everything that ever was, is, and ever more to be.
Yes.
You all have 97. It's not showing as one in this book. That's interesting.
Really?
Yes, it's not showing as one in this book. It goes from 96 to 98. It's
hey.
How do you spell it?
berkelium. like Berkeley College, you know, Berkelium.
Okay, let me do a little
Light.
research.
See if they have it spelled, because in this book it's spelled. I don't know if it's the same, but it's Beryllium. But that's a different one, so I don't know.
Okay. It's a different spelling. It here, but it skipped it when it came to. Let me see. When it mentioned the atomic number, so that may just be a misprint in this book. 97 Berkelium. Okay, so let me grab some information about that really quickly. Berkelium is a transuranic radioactive chemical element. Oh, no wonder. It's named after the city of Berkeley, California, and it was discovered in 1949, which means they just didn't see it until then. It is silvery in color. They don't know anything about the melting point, boiling point. They don't know the ionic radius. It has 8 isotopes. There's a lot they don't know about this one. A lot. Silver in color, its chemistry has been investigated to a limited extent, and several compounds have been made. Berkelium metal is attacked by oxygen, steam, and acids, but not by alkalis. That's unusual. It's attacked by oxygen, steam, and acids, but not by alkalis. That doesn't sound natural to me, because nature doesn't usually do that.
Right.
But, okay. Islam.
All right, so our last 101, Mendelevium.
Question 101, according to science, how many days are in a year? 7 days.
Okay. Mendel. 101. Mendelevium. Uh-oh.
You don't have that one either? Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I heard you.
I have it. The boiling point is unknown. Its melting point is 1100 K, or 826 degrees Celsius. So that's the melting point. Mendelevium is a synthetic element with the symbol MD. So they're saying it's synthetic. I knew there had to be something in here that was not natural. Synthetic is not, that's not a natural element. It's a grayish-white element having the highest electrical and thermal conductivity of any metal. It occurs free. So they don't say natural. They say it occurs free. It has a half-life of 52 days, so it's very, very temporary. 52 days is not a very long half-life at all.
Right.
Yeah, there's not much to this. Named after Dmitry Mendeleev, who produced one of the first periodic tables that they know of. Islam, I yield. That's
Islam. So I'm looking at the time. So I think we're just about hitting it, or we just went over it. Yeah, we went over a little bit. But I just shared this information because got to open up, got to start opening up and stop being cloistered. You know, because we got minds. Because it says time never was when man was not, time never was and mind was not. So we got to utilize that which we were given, and from the great I am. And so I'm encouraging people to be scholarly with this information. This is just one opening. This is like I say, it's multidimensional, and we're doing the alchemy of it and understanding, you know, our relation to the chemicals, the elements, you know, the elements and that which is above, below, around the universe, the galaxy. So I'm encouraging investigation, questions, you know, and that the question about the 12 disciples. I'm going, the 12 major prophets. I must remember that 12 major prophets and 12 minor prophets. So I'm just sharing this with you because open up your minds, free yourself from being blocked into a box. You know, we got to get outside of the box. We have a world to investigate, and we have a higher vibration to achieve. We need to get to that Kether, from Malkuth to Kether, from raising our Kundalini energy, raising our chakras, you know, getting to that heart chakra so that we can get to that pineal, that third eye, the first eye. And with that, I trust that I've shared something that someone will utilize. I'm trying to give tools that you can utilize in investigating the I, self, law, and master, to find out how to master yourself, and that there's a world we have hardly begun to investigate, and we need to investigate these things because that's part of being a more scientist, the science of being a more, navigating else. And with that, there's a court matter coming later on today, Eastern time. I think it's 3:33 later or 4:33 later this evening. And so with that, I'd like to close, and I hope someone has taken away something that I tried to share. And with that, I close with, I love you. I love all of you. I love all of you.
We love you too, Empress.
Wholeness.
Islam.
There's wholeness and love. Peace and love. Islam.
Peace and love.
Mothers and sons, love to all the mothers and sons on the call. I love you all. Islam.
Yes.
Islam.
Really enlightening. Thank you.
Islam.
Yes.
Islam.
Islam. Islam.
All right.